man. Hey guys, Skyrim here, and today we are here on another Friday night stream. Music is a vibe. Absolutely. We do it. We do it every stream. Jeez, if you're here in the beginning. No, I'm just playing. There's a little delay, okay? Both on the chat and here, okay? There's a little delay. All right, guys. So I have some big news. I have some things I want to talk about before we start on the game tonight. We are going to be continuing until then, so I'm looking forward to that. But before we get into that, I need to tell you guys that I've been slacking for the past couple days. I've been missing streams. It's not been fun. I've been slacking since I didn't do a stream on last Wednesday, and then I did one before that. And I believe I missed the Friday as well, right? So I've been slacking. So I've been saying in the Discord, if you guys are following along with that a lot's been going on, and I've been having to take care of it. But I noticed that you've been missing streams. Yeah. So I'm gonna discuss that real quick, just so you guys know what's going on in my life and all that. But we should be okay. Everything should be simmering down, give or take. So I shouldn't be missing anymore, and if I do, at least you'll know the reason why. So I'm going to talk about today. So on the 15th, let me just open up a calendar. That's going to make things just a whole lot easier. So on the 15th, something happened. So on the 15th of July, so that was a Wednesday, right here where I was supposed to play the mound, I ended up getting into a car accident, and it was not fun. So let me explain exactly what happened here. I just took a screenshot, so let me put that over here real quick. But yeah, so I've been dealing with all that stuff recently. So let me put this here. But yeah, so that's basically the biggest thing that was happening. Oh no, are you okay? I'm okay. Yeah, there's no injuries or anything like that. Which that's the plus side of it. That is the plus side. No, there was no injuries. Dragon was in the car, and basically, yeah, that was the biggest thing. So what happened is that actually, I can show you guys a picture real quick. So this right here was my truck at the end of it. So it was a nasty one, but luckily no one got hurt, and luckily everyone was fine, and everyone was chill about it, which is the part that I'm happiest about. There was no yelling from you freaking say that to my knee. Okay, that's true. Okay. Dragon's knee did get pretty bruised up from hitting the dash on the front there, but I'm pretty sure that was the only thing. I didn't hear anything about the other guy either, other than him being sore because his airbags went off. But that was pretty much the only thing, I believe. That and my neck was sore from whiplash and stuff. So I'll explain to you what happened using a whiteboard. That's freaking bright. Oh dear God. Okay. So what happened is that I was planning on that day cutting stream off that day anyways, because at my work we have 5 people. We have 6 people that work there. So there is me, and for those of you guys that don't know, Dragon works with me too. So it's me, Dragon, and then there's another teacher. And we're the only teachers there other than my boss. So my boss works with us as well. And then in the music shop that I work at, there, my boss has a wife who owns a beauty salon. Don't ask me why it's a smiley face. Okay, I did not plan that. But she has a beauty salon that's connected to our building. So we talk to him all the time. We basically say like we work together. It's the same shop. But the only person that works for her is her daughter. And her daughter that day was having a wedding and invited us all there. And basically all of us were there except for this guy. He didn't show up. He just had a child. A lot of so he's been busy. But other than that, everyone else was pretty much there. Do I have an eraser on this thing? Of course not. Okay. But yeah, so everyone else was there. It was like at noon, which, considering I'm a streamer, that was really early. So we got up pretty early that day, and I did not get a good night's sleep before that. The one thing I remember of the morning is the time I went to bed was the time my first alarm clock went off, because we set like 3, I think. But I went to bed at the time of the first alarm going off, and then I ended up waking up around the 3rd. So I got like 2 hours of sleep that night. It was not fun. So we go up there, and the wedding is taking place at this house that belongs to this dude's. That's a shape. This dude's now husband, right? Like his grandparents own this house up in the mountains, and they were doing the wedding in the backyard. And I'll be honest with you, I think Dragon and I both agree that for as long as we've been together, we've gone to 3 weddings. This is the 3rd wedding that we've been to all together, and this is the best so far. For like a minimal budget wedding, this was the best. So it was a really nice one. But we drove up there. It took about it was like a 40-minute drive. So it was up in the mountains. It was a bit. And when you get there, there's this highway that's going across, like a 1-lane, 2-lane highway. It's like one of those busy streets that you see in like mountain areas. So it was coming around, just for sake, I'm going to say it was coming around this way, and then it kept going, right? And it was a highway. I think it was like 2 lanes. So I'm just going to draw like that right there. So this is like the main road, right? And then over here is a little side road that keeps going and crosses it, like that right there, right? And then this road also kind of veers off and connects to this road right here. So it was kind of like a Y thing right there. So if I actually pull up the picture, you can kind of see it from here. How like in the side here, it veers off this way, and then this is the main highway, and then that stop sign right there is from where we were at. So this entire area, where the shape's at, this entire area over here is all like residential, right? There's a bunch of houses, all of that right there, right? So while we were driving up, I noticed there was I think it was a Circle K. There was a gas station, and I remember making a mental note of that, because I was like, I'm going to be freaking exhausted by the end of this, because I did not get good sleep last night. I'm going to make sure we make a pit stop there and get some energy drinks, right? So make just a quick mental note, head over to the wedding. We were there for about like 2-ish hours, but it was really good. And on our way back, I didn't turn on maps yet to try to figure out where we're going, right? Because I'm like, I'm just going to go into town. And the town was about, I'll use a circle for this one. Town was about like over yonder. About there, give or take. So you can see by this road right here, there's like buildings and stuff, right? And basically what happened is I was coming up, and just like, well, I'll show you this way right here. So I was coming in from, it's not gonna go right now. Okay, there we go. I'll use a shape. I'll just use a shape. I'll make it easy. So I was coming in from over here. So this was right here is me. We were driving through, right? And I stopped at the stop sign. And just like you do when you're driving, I looked both ways. Everything was fine. And I was getting ready to turn right. So I was getting ready to go like this way. Nope. So I was getting ready to go this way, right? And I was looking right. Is this before or after the wedding? So this is after. That's a good question. So yeah, so we went to the wedding and everything was fine. Everything was totally okay. And this was on the way back. So on the way back from the wedding, I got to this intersection and I was looking both ways just like you do. And I was about to turn right. And then right before I turned right, I looked in front of me. And in front of me, you could see the little town area. So I'm like, oh, crap. The gas station that I pinpointed, I made a mental note of, that has to be over there. So last minute, I decided to go forward. And when I went forward, I totally did not see that this dude over here was driving up. He was not bigger than me. I should probably, but he was driving this way, and I should probably make this a point too, that this guy right here was a blind corner because it did curve a little bit. Now, if I was like paying more attention, don't get me wrong, I probably could have seen him. Like it wasn't that bad, right? But it was a blind corner. He was zooming through, and he was right in front of me, and I ended up T-boning him. So I hit him head on. He ended up swerving off the road a little bit and stopping here. And then I ended up I remember my front end going up, but everything kind of like happened in an instant to where I could barely remember. But I ended up stopping about here, right? By this point, I'm in shock. I didn't know what to do, right? Like this just happened, and the only thing I can think of is that it felt like a dream, right? Nothing about it felt real. Nothing about being in an accident feels real in the moment, right? So I'm sitting there, pulling together my thoughts. I hear my phone go off because apparently there's a thing in phones where like if you get in an accident, they know. So I just heard my phone say like, it appears you have been in a car accident. If you don't cancel this, we're going to call 911. So I reached for my phone. I'm like, crap. Right? But I'm sitting there. Drag and I look at each other, just in shock. No idea what happened. It doesn't feel real. No, it does not. Absolutely. Whatsoever. I kept telling myself, like, I need to... Because I think I blinked a couple times. I'm like, I just need to wake up. This is not what I want to be doing, right? So, I'm sitting there, and then sure enough, after a little bit, there was a fire truck that came through and parked right here. And I'll be honest with you guys, I've never known how well first responders arrive to a scene until this very moment, because I didn't even know that they were called yet. They just showed up before I even like collected myself, right? But they were there. About 5 or so dudes pulled out, and one guy was directing traffic here, one guy was directing traffic here. We walked up to this middle area right here. Some guy came up to me and said, hey, are you guys all right? And everything was good to go, right? So eventually they were directing traffic, everything was getting all settled in and all that, and a couple sheriffs came by. So they came in and also parked in this middle area right here. So this guy came in and also parked in the middle, and he talked to me a little bit, and his job was basically like making sure everything is in like a safe order and all that. So what he did is that there was a shoulder right here. So he already directed this guy to come over to the shoulder. And then he asked me to drive over. He asked me if my vehicle is drivable, and I told him, yeah, I drove into this corner right here. Obviously, like, it should be fine, right? So he's like, all right, go ahead and drive over to this corner, and we'll take care of all the paperwork and the investigation stuff is what they like to call it. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I drive over here, right? And it wasn't until I got here that there was just loud screeching from my car. There was, I figured it was the bumper because from the picture you could tell that the bumper is off right here, right? So I figured that was just it grinding on the floor. But then this is also when I realized that my license plate was gone because that was supposed to be right here, right? And basically, me and the cop both agreed my vehicle's not drivable. So he's like, don't worry, I already called you a tow truck. And I'm like, I have AAA, like, I could do that, but it was already called. There's nothing I can do about it. So we go over there, we exchange information, I call insurance, everything's all, like, situated, we're all good to go. And the guy, another officer came in that was supposed to be part of the investigation, and he asked me a bunch of questions, a bunch of dumb questions, but questions nonetheless. Like, he asked me, like, you were sitting there, right? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, and you looked both ways? And I'm like, yes. And he's like, and you just didn't see the car? I'm like, no. He's like, but you looked both ways. I'm like, yeah. So, that happened. But that's basically what was there. And then, eventually, I had to call my insurance to do a accident claim. And that was a nightmare because the officer that told me I need to call my insurance and make sure everything's all settled for the vehicle told me like it should take 15 or 20 minutes and you'll be good to go, right? I'm like, all right, cool. I'll call him real quick before the tow truck gets here. So the tow truck gets there pretty much right when they finally take me off the hold. And then we were driving this way, and I think it was about here that we parked. And he's like, if we go further down, we're going to lose connection, so just go ahead and finish your call. And about 20 minutes into the call, he's like, all right, I'm on a schedule here. We need to go. So he goes. The call, ladies and gentlemen, took 40 minutes altogether. Just like getting all the information. And even the tow truck guy at the end of it was like, that took forever. And I'm like, that's what I was thinking. Holy crap. He's like, every time this happened to me, my insurance, I never give him any information. Like, that would have been good to know, yeah. So he takes us to this tow yard, like, out in the boonies. And I had to go over there. We pulled a bunch of stuff out from the back. And then, what was it? And then we had to sign something to let the vehicle stay there. And all of that, so that took a bit, but it wasn't until I was done with that and walked out that I realized that we don't have another vehicle to take home. Because the guy just said like, all right, you're good to go. Have a good day. And then we were sitting outside and we're like, now what? Mind you, the tow yard that we went to did not have a freaking lobby. Like, we had to sit outside, right? So I had to make a very awkward phone call to my parents and asked them to pick me up. So I picked them. They took about 30 minutes to get there. And this day specifically, it was 104 degrees outside. And we had to sit outside for 30 minutes. And by the time we got home, it was about 6:50, I think it was. It was close to 7 o'clock. And I'm like, I can't. I'm not doing this. I'm not going to be able to go live tonight. Do you have water at least? We did not then. We did. I probably should have said this. We did stop by a grocery store and pick up water on the way back because both Dragon and I were just completely dehydrated by the end of it. We were done. We were sunburnt. It was bad. And we both chugged like these huge waters too. That's the other kind of big thing. We went to the grocery store and found the biggest waters we possibly could. So we did that, and then Everything else was basically just hassle after hassle. So that'll happen. That was the accident, right? After that, however, we had to deal with the rest. So this was on this day right here, right? That was the 15th on Wednesday. I had work the next day, right here on the 16th, right? So on Thursday, I woke up way too late and saw that I had a missed call. And when you get a voicemail on like an Apple phone and stuff, there's probably other phones too, but on my phone specifically, they have an auto translate that I found that you can usually trust it. So I read that first and saw that it said, I'm the person I'm the person designated to your incident. So I just want you to know that I'm not gonna be here on Thursday. Go ahead and call me on Friday, and we'll get everything settled in. Right? Friday shows up because I'm like, all right, cool. So I wait, and then Friday shows up, and I listen to the voicemail instead of just reading it, and find out that that's not what they said. The person that was helping me said that I will be here until 5 p.m. on Thursday, but I'm not going to be here on Friday or Monday, right? So either call me later on today or call me on Tuesday. So I'm like, well, that freaking sucks. Now we have to wait over the weekend to do this, but it is what it is, right? So I was actually able to hop on and be live for Meowjic on Monday. So that was cool. But if you notice, like, I was not energetic at all. Well, I shouldn't say at all. It was a fun game. If you guys didn't see it, check out the VOD. It was really cool. But I had to call them on Tuesday. So Tuesday, I had to be on this really long, awkward phone call in which they had to pull out a tape recorder and record my point of view of the accident. And that was a nightmare in itself because you know for a fact you're being recorded on a call that you do not want to be on. So that was an adventure in itself. But we basically did that, and then Wednesday they called and told me that they are going to send someone to pick it up from the tow yard. So, but by that point it's been there for a week, but they're going to pick it up that day. Cool, right? And Thursday rolls around, and they brought it to a shop to get it assessed. So if you guys don't know what insurance does, is that when you're in an accident, they basically take it to a shop for you, and they base it off of what's called your blue book value of your vehicle, right? So they will assess the damage, see how much it costs to repair it, and if it is less than that, then they will cover the charges for the repairs, and they will repair it, and you are good to go. But if it's more than that, then what happens is they call your car totaled. That's why when you hear like your vehicle is totaled, it's because the damages cost more than the worth of the car, the value of the car, right? So they basically have to do an assessment to figure that out. And if it's more, then what they do is they give you that blue book value so that you can go and get another car, right? So they sent it to a shop, and then on this day, they gave me a call that I also missed because I had work that day and didn't even think about checking my voicemails. But I ended up calling him back, but like calling him back at like 4 p.m. or something like that. Again, they closed at 5. But they basically said like, in order to work on your car, we need to have you come in and sign a couple of papers to make sure that we can work on it. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I couldn't do it that day, even though if I answered the call earlier, I probably could have figured something out with work and do something, but that didn't happen. So I ended up having to go in today. And we went in this morning. We drove down to, again, the boonies. It was in the same area. And I saw the car. It was really depressing. But the guy basically told me that this is the place where they're getting assessed. And that's not what I thought it was. When they said that it was taken to a shop, I thought that they would assess it in the tow yard. Like they were gonna send a guy who just knows his cars and was gonna look at it and be like, "Yeah, you're fine. Go ahead and get it repaired." Right? I don't know why I thought that, looking back at it, but that's what I thought. So basically, we got here and we had to go over there today. They did that. They said since you signed it today, we're gonna assess it today. And the guy said, "I'm not the one assessing it, so I can't tell you if it's gonna get uh, totaled or repaired today after this." But he said from his old, like his own like experience from there, he thinks it might be totaled, but he's not completely sure. So we have no idea what's gonna happen with that yet. All we know is it's getting assessed, and that is where we're at right now. So I wanted to just let you guys know this, just so you know that if I've been off or if anything's been going on and you know something weird, that's what's been happening. So I apologize to you guys. I am trying to stay as consistent here as possible. My YouTube is not consistent, but that's kind of where we're at right now. So I'm trying to get back to normal. I'm trying to get everything all squared away. Damn, life hit you hard. Yeah, that's where we're at. That is what's happening. So I'll keep you guys up to date. I'll probably post more things in the Discord. So if you guys aren't part of that, make sure you hop down there. But I'll keep you guys up to date as much as possible, and we'll see where it goes from here.